Welcome to Get Green, Northwest Indiana, your home for lawn care solutions with Steve Daly. Each podcast, you'll learn the secret tips to growing healthy green grass and best practice solutions for watering, weed and feed, aeration, and mowing. Here are your hosts, Steve Daly and Jim Jano.
Hey homeowner, is your lawn beyond repair? Are you thinking about a complete lawn renovation? Well, according to Steve Daly, too many people jump in before they consider all their options. Sometimes the best solution is best practice lawn management. Today we look at lawn renovation versus lawn maintenance. Which is better and when? Steve, help us out.
A lot of times renovation and management are two different things, and people that are looking to renovate, they do it because they think their lawn is beyond repair. And that's that's the whole thing in evaluating it and trying to get an idea. Because some people just don't understand that this weedy mess can actually end up being a nice lawn if you just feed it and give it time. Do you need to start from scratch, or can you just go with what you have?
So it's kind of like somebody that's 40 pounds overweight. You didn't get 40 pounds overweight overnight. You're not going to fix it overnight. It takes time to fix the problems that you've created.
Right, yeah.
So good maintenance is,
yeah.
What is that expression in sports? The best defense? The best offense is good defense, your best defense is good offense?
I'll give you a prime example. A lady down the street, around the corner, like just before Halloween, because we had all our Halloween decorations up.
And your Halloween parties are the best.
And she's like, she just says, can you come down and take a look at my lawn? We've been trying to get rid of these weeds. And she thought her lawn was trash. And within 2 applications, her lawn looked beautiful. And she's like, and I hadn't even gone down around the corner because it's kind of not the way I drive out of the subdivision most days. And she goes, our lawn looks fantastic. I'm sure it's gotten better, but I can't imagine it all cleaned up this quickly. And she's like, oh. And so I drove past it, and I'm like, oh, my God, this looks completely different. And it was within 2
Did you start strutting then?
Yeah, I got
like
I went to her lawn and started doing the moonwalk. Or if it needs, so you got to look at the situation, discuss it with the homeowner, and come up with a plan. I've had people go, all right, well, I don't like the bumpiness in my lawn. Well, I go, that's a whole different game. I can't. I'm not addressing that. You're talking about regrading and reseeding, or if you're looking at. So it depends on what degree of renovation you need to get to where you need to go. If you're talking about, oh, my lawn doesn't look good and I think I need to renovate it. Well, there's different. You got to determine what's going on to get to where you're going.
So renovation is really not something that fits neatly into a box. It's all over the place.
Right, yeah, because people have different understandings of where, a lawn needs to be renovated. Sometimes it just doesn't. It just needs to be consistently cared for. They'll think their lawn's trash because it's full of weeds. And I'll look at it and say, well, there's plenty of grass to work with here. We just need to get the weeds out, fertilize it, let it fill in, and then see where you're at.
So a lot of times renovation isn't necessarily as simple as saying, oh, my yard's terrible, I just need to renovate it. That's kind of avoiding the solution. The real solution is you need to maintain your yard right.
Yeah, sometimes the real solution is just get it on a program and it's fine. And sometimes I'll look at it and go, yeah, you really need to renovate this thing. It's trashed. And if there's a lot of dead areas, it just depends on what is. Each lawn is different, and evaluating it is different. And so I just generally try to look at it with a realistic fashion when I walk out there for an estimate.
Well, and I've noticed that you'll turn business down if you feel that they can do better by hiring a different type of service or what have you. How often so you generally, if somebody calls you and comes out, you don't necessarily feel like you necessarily need to take the job on. Sometimes you might recommend.
If their lawn is ruined and I can't help them, I will direct them where I think they need to go. If it's if it's something where the thing needs to be redone, I will tell them, and I will give them people's names to go look for that.
What are some of the people in the community that you might endorse for if you're not going to...
Depends on the job. It depends on what needs to be done and what the people are looking for. There's several different companies that I refer out, and it just really comes down to what kind of work they need. Is it dirt and seed? Does the lawn need killed out first? There's all sorts of different factors that you have to take into consideration.
Well, and that's interesting because when I moved in, the builder did what so many builders do these days. They took all the topsoil and left me with dead clay, and it was horrible. And I paid to have the best sod. I went to somebody that was allegedly the most expensive, and I paid for dirt, and they dumped it all in the front yard, did nothing to my back, and then a couple years later, my lawn deadpanned, and I was tortured for 20 years from it. What should I have done at that time? I ended up bringing in truckloads of dirt and fill up my backyard, and then I actually elevated it where the water was pouring back into my studio.
I mean, to be honest with you, I've always had pretty decent success growing lawns in the clay too. I mean, you can grow a lawn in clay and have a good lawn in clay. It's just
so I didn't necessarily need to spend days and days and days bringing on soil.
Clay anyway. There's different clays throughout the world. It might be different, but our clay you can work with, and you can get a good lawn in any of the clay around here for the most part.
So what I'm hearing then is that it's not as simple as what I was hoping for, which was a podcast that says, here's the steps to renovation. It's a little bit more complex than that.
It's a lot more complex than that. I mean, you got to determine whether the lawn even needs renovated to begin with, and then you go from there. But a lot of people will put the cart before the horse and end up spending a lot more money than they have to. And then there's people that will go, all right, let's see where this goes. And that's, it just all depends. I mean, everybody's situation's different. But
it always ends in the same thing, which
part of it is evaluating who the person you're talking to is. All right, are you looking for the perfect grade? Are you looking for the perfect lawn? Are you, and sometimes people go, I don't need to have I want a green lawn, weed-free. And they're not concerned with all the different grass type textures and things like that. And so you have to kind of evaluate where you're at with somebody and what they're looking for.
And ultimately, at the end of the day, once you get it under control, it still comes down to a good maintenance, a good fertilizer program, a good weed and feed is basically, once you're established, will help you from never going backwards again. And once how can they learn more about your plans and how they can get a hold of you to learn about your different fertilizer?
I would start with www.permagreen.com.
Isn't there a hyphen in there?
Oh, there's a hyphen in there. That's right.
So what is that?
www.perma-green.com.
Well, Steve, thank you.
You don't want to go to the other one. That's the website for the spreader people.
But you use their stuff too, though. So.
Yes, we use theirs. So you could actually cross-promote that. I mean, we use their spreaders. We've used them for years. And
who are they, by the way?
Well, the owner of Perma-Green Supreme is the former partner of my former boss. So,
and there's an interesting story there, which we're going to talk about because you've got a special celebration in 2024. What is it?
Perma-Green's been around for 50 years.
50 years.
50 years, and
so they're 10 years older than you.
10 years? No. I'm 10 years older than that, pretty much, 8. But Perma-Green started, when I was 8 years old. So I can't take credit for starting that.
But we can't steal the thunder of that podcast.
I would go to my former boss, Butch Shiplove, and his partner, Tom Jessen, who is Perma-Green Supreme, that builds the equipment that we work on. So.
And we're going to talk a little bit about that in our next podcast, which is Perma-Green turns 50. And we're going to talk a little bit about your history in Valparaiso and Northwest Indiana. But until then, thanks for being with us today and discussing renovation and how you're supposed to take care of it.
Fantastic. Thanks, Jano. Have a great day.
Thank you, Steve. Have a great day.